we're in for an exciting day. We're in for a day where we explore how development in both the global north and the global south can be better understood, can be better practiced, so it is multidimensional, integrated, and ultimately more holistic and sustainable. As many of you will know, development theory and development practice has historically been dominated by something called the economic growth paradigm. So this notion that we understand development as simply a growing economy, and then we measure development using GDP. Well, what we want to do today is look at how we can move beyond that sole focus on economic growth. How can we move beyond it and pursue development that takes into account and values the multiple dimensions of being human? Our theme today is moving beyond a sole focus on GDP and the economic growth paradigm. And I think the obvious question in response to this theme is why? Why move beyond GDP and the economic growth paradigm? Economic growth has brought many, many people out of poverty. So what's the need to move beyond it? Well, I was going to point to a few issues, to a few events that suggest why it's important. But we've seen very, very starkly this week in Nepal why going beyond a sole focus on economic growth is critical for development. Because what we've seen unfold in Nepal is not simply an issue of an earthquake. The nature of the damage, the extent of the damage, those most affected by the damage, these are all a reflection of a set of development issues that go beyond a sole focus on the economy. They are a reflection of development challenges related to things like resilience, related to substandard housing, related to rural-urban inequities, even governance. So our thoughts today are with the people of Nepal. I know many of you have projects in Nepal, many of you have been to Nepal, I know some of you have been born in Nepal. So our thoughts are absolutely with the people of Nepal today. And I think this tragedy demonstrates the urgency of pursuing development that is more than just economic growth. We've seen it unfold on our screens. Now, given this urgency, there are three themes that will structure our day today, and these themes will sort of build on one another. First theme, how can development as a concept be understood as something more than economic growth? How can we understand it as something that takes into account economic, ecological, social, cultural, gender, and governance concerns? That's our first theme. Second theme, if we understand development that way, as having multiple dimensions, how then do we measure it? Because we're measuring more than just growth in the economy. So GDP isn't enough. So how do we measure it? What kinds of issues are there? What might that look like? That's our second theme. Our third theme, if development is understood as multidimensional and measured as multidimensional, how then do we go about actually implementing it on the ground? So those are our three, kind of our sub-themes for today. How to conceptualize, measure, and implement development in a way that moves beyond a sole focus on economic growth and integrates multiple economic, ecological, social, cultural, and gender concerns. How do we move beyond a sole focus on GDP and economic growth?